Hi, my name is Tyler Boronski, and you're watching my YouTube channel where I interview professional athletes and celebrities. Today, my guest is Dante Bichette Jr., a professional baseball player formerly with the New York Yankees organization. Dante and I had a great conversation about his playing career, so I really hope you enjoy this interview. So, Dante, thanks for coming on. How you doing, bro?
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. Doing well.
Of course, man. So, Dante Bichette, I mean, people hear the last name and they know baseball's in your blood, especially with your dad's all-star career. Growing up, what was the best part about visiting Dad in the office?
Just the little things, man, that you'd never know happened. Like, getting to see Manny Ramirez dance in the clubhouse, on the field and taking ground balls, fly balls after the game or before the game. Little stuff like that, man. Things that I'll remember forever.
Dad eventually became coach for you, right? For your Little League World Series team. You guys made a Little League World Series run in 2005. When you're 13 years old, is the Little League World Series kind of like your big leagues, right?
I mean, at that point, it's the biggest thing you could do. You know, you get to play prime time on ESPN. When you're 12, 13, all you want to do is play on TV. So
yeah,
keep that, and it was a blast.
And when you're at a young age and you are exposed to the big leagues like you were, and being around big leaguers and being eventually coached by big leaguers, what advantage did that give you when you first got into pro ball and seeing the other guys?
There's nothing really that can prepare you for pro ball. Pro ball, especially when you come out of high school, there's a lot of changes, man. I mean, you go from 0 to 100, real quick. So you kind of gotta just learn as you go. But it's great to have, any questions that I did have, I was able to turn to my dad and ask him. Or buddies that I've had that have been there, just a couple years before me or whatever, and that's how I really was able to figure it out.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen your dad before too, because your dad goes to a lot of the games, right?
Yeah, he stays on the plane. Him and my mom both.
Right. I remember I went to one of Bo's games and he was there just watching like a regular fan and probably giving advice after the game.
I mean, if there's anything my dad could do, for the rest of his life, it'd be watching random games and talking hitting. So, he really enjoys that, yeah.
And you're drafted by the Yankees first round in 2011. Your first year in pro ball, you win the GCL MVP. So it seems like life's going pretty well in the baseball world. At that point, you just mapping it out when you're going to be in the Bronx?
There's so much to that story, man. But at that point, I was just, I was happy that my first year went well. Happy to be out there playing ball, and everything from that point onward, is to me was like, it was kind of like a deep breath that I finished the season, to be honest. So everything, in the future was just future.
And you'd spend 7 years with the Yankees organization. You reached AA Trenton with them, but then they released you after the 2017 season. When you look back, how do you view your Yankees career?
I learned a lot during that 7 years with the Yankees. Learned a lot, and I learned even more this year. It's funny because getting released, it seems like the worst thing in the world, and then I was able to go play in St. Paul and really find and have a blast. I mean, you're a baseball fan, dude. You would love watching a game in St. Paul. I mean, it's awesome.
I heard it's a beautiful stadium, and I don't think people realize, like, yes, indie ball, but it's great baseball, and that's what I hear. It's just the most fun baseball.
Oh, it's great, man. We get 9,000, 10,000, 11,000 a night, and
wow.
Crazy. In between innings, having food fights and whatever. It's great, man. Yeah.
Did you know much about indie ball before St. Paul? Like when they offered you a contract, did you know much about them or indie ball in general?
No, not really. I've had a lot of buddies who have been in indie ball, and literally each one of them will tell you that it's the best time they've ever had playing baseball. And that definitely rang true. But I know a lot more about it now.
Any plans? I don't know if you're able to talk about, but any plans about going back to St. Paul next year?
For me, I'm gonna go. Obviously, if I'm presented an opportunity, I'm gonna take advantage of it as best I can. But I am by no means worried about not getting that opportunity or not. If I end up in St. Paul, I'll be just as happy as I would have been anywhere else. So if not happier. So, that's just a great place to know that, I could go play.
Absolutely, man. And can I ask you about your brother real quick, Bo? Because seems like the baseball world's very high on him. He's got a fun name, by the way, for broadcasters. That'll be good for the big leagues. Bo Bichette. How good is Bo?
Bo's amazing. One of the most driven kids that I've ever been around. And just as far as his abilities, he's really really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's taught me a lot. He used to get me in the cage in high school when he was like 14 years old and straight out.
Hey, Dante, thanks so much again for taking the time. Hopefully, if you don't get the chance back in Philly ball this year, I think St. Paul would be fun to see you there again. So thank you again, man.